The Fantasy Edge with Richard Savill and Dennis Sosic.
Hello and welcome to Fantasy Edge. I am Richard Savill of FantasySixPack.net, and joining me shortly, Dennis Sosic, also of FantasySixPack.net, author of the Stock Up, Stock Down article that comes out on Wednesday, which I read this week. And I guess without further ado, hi, Dennis. How's it going, man? Richard. Yeah, did you have a good fantasy weekend, week 11?
Definitely not. No, I got hurt by a lot of injuries. So let's end up talking about a lot of them. Most of these players that I have on rosters that need to win were actually hurt this week. So I took some L's, and I got to hope for some prayers tonight in tonight's game that I get pull out a W out of my what. So I'll be praying.
All right. Well, I've got George.
How about you?
Well, I had a clean sweep. Nice. It was a good weekend. I defeated our fearless leader of the Fantasy Six Pack in both games. Feel pretty good about that. Yeah, it's always good to beat. It's always good to beat our man Joe. You know,
bragging rights is good.
It is, but it's so fleeting. Right. Because if it happened on the other side, I'd be saying, well, next week I'll be all forgotten about.
Right.
And it'll be the same. It'll be the same. Even though it happened in my favor this time, I just feel it's not always going to be. It's not always going to be that good. But felt pretty good because not only that, I needed a win in the league that we're in. Actually, is where I beat Joe. And you beat me quite handily. You just throttled me, I don't know what week that was, but you've hit on hard times in this league.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's been a lot of, like I said, I got hit hard the last couple of weeks, and, the fantasy guys are not smiling at me right now. So hopefully, whatever I did, I hope I correct my wrongs. They do better from this point forward. So.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But it's Thanksgiving this week. And so we have to be thinking about there's 3 games that, they're going to be played before everything else on Sunday.
Right.
I don't know. It's usually after this week, you kind of know that whether you're making the playoffs or not. And this is where a lot of people end their fantasy season. They sort of even if you're in a paid league and you're out of it, you don't bother with your team. You think you just consider them, you just write off the money that you paid for the league fee,
Yeah, unfortunately. I understand it to a point. Unfortunately, I've done it here and there, but I can't stand it, especially, if you're vying for a playoff spot against somebody and they're playing the team that just gave up, it's going to be a W for them. So it kind of forces you to always win. Doesn't give you room for error. So it's a pain in the butt, but it's part of the deal with fantasy. And it's frustrating at times, but, when you win, like you did this week against Joe, it's very gratifying as well.
It is, but like I say, it's terrible when people just they just write off the season. They just consider the league fee lost and it's just move on to next season, I guess. Yeah. You get that. But, I think it's worse in public leagues, too. For those.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, those. Yeah, I try not to get too many of those because those are known for just people giving up and their drafts are kind of silly and nobody picks up anybody, so you got all-star rosters out there. Yeah, it gets kind of old to play those leagues, but
yeah. I stopped playing those leagues 2 or 3, 4 years ago. It was all right, but. Anyways, it's time to get on to the news and,
Show today is crowded, so we must move quick!
Yep, as it is always. It's always filled, and we got lots to talk about. First of all, it's, as you were saying, it was a tough week for you because of that. Injuries, and, Wan'Dale Robinson, torn his ACL, season is over. That about wraps it up for, the Giants receiver, except for Darius Slayton, you know what? He took a pay cut to stay on the team, to stay from being dropped from the 53. And now look at him. Look where he is now.
Right. He's a go-to guy now. And he's been playing well lately, so he's doing well. It sucks for Wan'Dale Robinson. He had a very good game. at 100 yards, on Sunday, and he was looking like the playmaker and the PPR monster that he was projected to be, and then he gets hurt. So, something to worry about next year. I mean, who knows what's going to happen next year with the Giants team, but I'm not sure if Daniel Jones will be back or not. But right now, it's it sucks for him, and Darius Slayton takes a big step forward in that offense.
Yeah, and but Kenny Golladay, the forgotten man in fantasy. He got 2 catches, got to both his targets for 29 yards against Detroit. But that's all we heard from him. That's it. That is it.
Not touching him at all.
Yeah, I'm not touching Richie James either.
No, me either.
Even though he scored against Detroit, he got 48 yards and a touchdown, and he finished at surprisingly at WR15 for that. If you're finishing at WR15 with a touchdown and 48 yards and 3 targets in half PPR, that kind of tells you that things weren't all that great for wide receivers this weekend.
No, definitely not. That was a rough week all around.
So kind of low production. Speaking of, we got more
injury.
Yeah, Mike Williams, re-injured his ankle after that awkward adjustment to make a catch in the game last night. And, I think, the initial reports is that it's not as bad as they've initially thought. So it's not too much of a setback. He might be able to return next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, he was one of the players that I had that I was pretty excited to have him back in the lineup, especially in that game where you figured it was going to be high scoring. And, I was hoping he would make an impact in that game. And then, first pass he catches, he goes down. And the last time we saw him, except for sideline views of him, being kind of unhappy on the sidelines. And, it makes you wonder why they decided to throw I know you want to throw the ball sidelines, but why even give that kind of pass attempt to him? His ankle's messed up. But, it's a part of the game, I guess, but it's still, it's kind of, he was one guy that kind of hurt me this week.
Yeah, Mike Williams is one thing, Dennis, but the other thing, and you started him too, and
injury.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney, re-injured hamstring, and it cropped up. He had 1 target in the game, and then he wasn't seen again. I mean, I didn't even see him. I don't even remember the target.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, it was that, like I said earlier, that was supposed to be a high scoring matchup, and I think, Tony's coming off of a game. A lot of receivers are out for Chiefs, so let's see him. Hopefully he could pop, in this game, and he popped something. It wasn't fancy wise, just his hamstring.
It kind of makes you wonder why the Giants let him go. Makes me kind of think, is this guy just is he a guy one of these Kenny Britt type injury milkers? You know what I mean?
Right. Maybe kind of soft in more ways than one, and he's just he's not somebody that could be dependent upon. But I mean, I threw in my lineup. I had him, Tony, and Williams in one lineup, and that kind of sunk pretty bad. Took a shot. It was in a big league that I think it was a 14-team league, so not many options out there. So I figured, hey, gotta go for broke. And I went for broke, and I broke. So always next week.
Who did you sit instead of Tony?
I don't remember. I could look it up. But.
Well, for me, the guy I sat, and we talked about this briefly before the pod, was Josh Palmer. I sat him in 2 leagues I sat him for Kadarius Toney. I forget who I test drove Ben Skowronek. But
how are you going to do that?
I'm kind of a man true to my word. I mean, like, if anybody listens to this podcast, they have to know that we're in this together, man. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I go boldly. I mean, it's like, I'm not going to, it's not something you're going to be like regretting for the rest of your life. I mean, it's just, you just try these things, and it didn't work out, but I still won the day, so, that's all right. That's all that matters, exactly. And so, anyways, injury train continues on. Joe Mixon concussion protocol, and this kind of ties in with the waiver rankings that we'll be doing, and also to remind people that Davis Peng is here with his Peng's picks later on in the podcast. So that's when we get talking about the RBs and so forth. But anyways, Joe Mixon, that hurt a lot of people because he wasn't able to finish the game. But I don't know if the script kind of lent itself itself for a lot of, well, to be fair, P. Ryan did score a lot of points, and those could have been Joe Mixon points.
Right.
So,
I think he scored twice before Mixon was even out, because he scored 2 passing touch receptions. So I mean he didn't run the ball very well, P. Ryan. So it's it's more of a pass catching option, and he caught 3 of them total. And Burrow was looking for him, and Mixon obviously. I'm not sure. I doubt he'll be playing next week, so we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, it just depends how serious the protocol is for him. It might not be serious at all. He might have been ready to come back. We don't know. So he might be playing. But I still think that we're going to be picking up P. Ryan, and he is definitely near the top of the list. We'll get to that a little bit later. And another guy that people were picking up, and injury. Yeah, that keeps happening. Jaylen Warren for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He left rather early. I don't know. He took a pass. I saw the game on Red Zone, and you could see him get up a little funny, gimpy. He was limping back to the sideline after a catch, and I didn't think nothing of it. I thought, it's nothing. He'll be back in, but he wasn't. He was out, and I think Najee Harris owners have to be kind of a little bit happy because he was a bit of a threat.
I agree. Yeah, he was. Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, you said he was one of the high waiver pickups. I mean, we keep talking about every week, pick him up, and unfortunately he got hurt. But Najee actually looked pretty good on Sunday. I mean, he scored twice, he had some big plays, and the Steelers' offensive line kind of blocked for him very well. So it was an overall good game for except for Pickett not connecting with a couple of passes there. I mean, they could have had chances to win that game early, and they kind of coughed it up. But Najee looked pretty good.
Yeah, Najee did that big, dangerous injury looking possibility leap into the end zone there. That looked a bit dangerous.
Yeah, there's too much hot dog in there.
It was a bit of hot dogging, but I mean, that's the kind of effort you want. Fantasy people want to see of Najee Harris, and they kind of got it in a losing effort. The Steelers' defenses are looking a little better. Of course, it seems like Joe Burrow gets sacked quite a lot. So I think if you started the Pittsburgh defense, you knew you were going to get a lot of sacks.
Right. You took the chance with that. Absolutely. Yeah, TJ Watt's such a difference maker on that, on that defense, that he brings everybody up, and he's such a beast out there. It's his motor never stopped.
Minka Fitzpatrick was back from an appendectomy, and I don't think they played him a lot. I don't think he was out there quite a few. No, but still, the secondary of the Steelers did play very well. The Steelers defense. Yeah, you're right. Watt does make a big difference in that defense all around.
Injury.
Justin Fields, shoulder injury day to day. It doesn't seem to be that bad, according to the latest reports on that. So
I just saw that it's a dislocation of his left shoulder.
Oh.
That's the latest. So whether he wants to play with it, I guess, if he get tired with the pain, or the Bears even want to put him out there to play, it's up in the air right now. So who knows if he's playing this week, next week, any week.
Right.
And it sucks. He's one of the players that is guiding few of my teams, and I'm heavily invested in Fields, and the injury is a big, whip buster. So it's a little disappointing to watch him. He was playing so great, and then kind of get a cheap shot at the end of the game, costing that.
Darn, I got Gino sitting there for somebody, but I think the trade deadline has happened and you can't trade anymore. So
it's a lot of leagues, right?
So league trading. Yeah, we're at that point. It's Thanksgiving. When you get to that point, that's when you start seeing trading shutting down. You can't trade anymore. Justin Fields. So I didn't realize it was a dislocation. So they got to pop it back in and see if he wants to play.
Yeah,
I don't know. Football players. They're a different breed. Football players, unless you're soft like Kadarius Toney and want to milk it. If you want to be like Kenny Britt,
Right.
Injury. Matt Stafford, also another guy in the concussion protocol. The Rams are forced to turn to because I think Wolford was hurt too, so they had to turn to Bryce Perkins, the third quarterback on the list. The Rams are hit hard times. Of course, we know that Cooper Kupp is no longer playing on the team, and I thought that maybe Ben Skowronek Didn't seem like any wide receiver was doing anything. It's nice to see Allen Robinson get the end zone, but I don't think there's anybody trustworthy on the team anymore.
No. I mean, it's a lost season for them. And they gave all those draft picks, and now I think I read somewhere where their pick will be number 5 right now. Let's go on the Lions this year because they trade. So I mean, they gave all those picks. They got the Super Bowl, but the huge hangover after all the injuries, offensive lines in shambles. It's a lost season for them. Stay away from the Rams.
Yeah, Cam Akers got 14 carries, I believe. Hard to believe, but there he is.
Right.
And more than this, I think it was what's his name, Kyron
Williams.
Kyron Williams, yeah. He didn't. Doesn't seem to matter. Nobody can open up holes for these guys, so I think it's a lot to do with the offensive line going on there. Man, we got a lot of injuries here. Yeah, Kyle Pitts placed on IR and he's out for the season. It's Atlanta still won the game mostly because of that. It was a record of some sort that Cordarrelle Patterson made.
Yeah. No, yeah, kick special teams touchdown. Yeah, he's phenomenal. I think he's in his 30s and he's running by people like they're not even there. And he's such a good football player. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, another one of my players that I lost. He wasn't doing anything. It was really disappointing anyways. And now I don't have to worry about being disappointed by him anymore. I just throw him on IR and hope I can find a tight end next couple of weeks to play.
Yeah, we'll be talking about who you can play a little bit later on. Injury. There's still more injuries here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not that we care, because he was being phased out of the offense anyway. But just the same, I mean, I think I mentioned this in the blur view that it was with Pacheco was up and a wait, and because we're still waiting. I mean, he got over 100 yards, Pacheco, but it's a question of presence. Is not there. It just doesn't seem like the running game is the thing on the Chiefs.
No, it's all about the chemistry between Mahomes and Kelsey, and whatever you get beyond that is just gravy, because those two guys are freaking phenomenal. I mean, they just if you had and I argue with fellow fantasy managers about picking Kelsey this year in drafts, and I'm saying as long as he's still able to play, I'm picking him early, first round, end of the first round, because he's going to produce, and he continues to produce. I mean, he's such an advantage at the tight end position. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you could have said that about Mark Andrews, but he's had his issues. Both those two I kind of put in the same bracket. But Kelsey definitely slightly better. Maybe more than slightly better, but maybe a full yard ahead than just a couple of feet. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire, ankle injury, status uncertain, so it's going to happen there.
Yeah. But high ankle sprain there. I saw.
Yeah, they might even choose to pick up Melvin Gordon, who was released from the Broncos.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, he was been fumbling, fumbleitis there at near the goal line, and they yanked him from the game, and they started putting Latavius Murray in there more often, and I think Gordon had words to say about that, and they decided to move on from Melvin Gordon. Yeah,
the next, in case you're wondering who the next guy is behind Latavius Murray, it's Marlon Mack.
A blast from the past.
Yeah, blast from the past, but it's just, there's no harm in picking up Marlon Mack. I don't think Marlon Mack is even on the list here. He's not on the waiver list. I should put him on just as there's no harm in picking him up. Why not? I mean, the second RB in there. Besides, they sort of run a committee with the Broncos anyway. So you might see some touches for Marlon Mack. But, who knows? Don't know. I do know that sometimes running backs that come from other teams, they don't actually produce as much as you hope. And such was the case with Nyheim Hines. People are really upset about Nyheim Hines. He's been invisible since he moved to the who did he move to?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Since he went to Buffalo, yeah, that's right.
Well, he's returning kicks now, so
he's returning. He's doing something, but that's not
Right.
kind of what
Doesn't help fantasy wise. Yeah.
No, I mean, we kind of thought that that James Cook would kind of move into the background a little bit, but no. In fact, James Cook looks like he's moving up.
Yeah, he is.
So anyways, so kind of weird things going on. So, before we move off of Melvin Gordon, who picks him up? Who will take Melvin Gordon? Do you think? Who's the neediest team right now that you think that?
I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs reached out to him to pick him up.
All right.
I can see that happening. And beyond that, I'm not sure. I mean, he doesn't push the pile anymore, and he's one of those guys that just falls into the end zone kind of thing. So I mean, he's kind of like Latavius Murray, but Gordon fumbles. And if you're a playoff team, do you really want to take the chance of someone turning the ball over as much as Gordon has been doing lately?
Yeah, you can say that, but he doesn't turn the ball over all the time. I mean, you can still run him out there at least. With some. What about the Rams? That's not a bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. But
Cincinnati. What about Pittsburgh? Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. They just had some guys that got hurt there. Well,
yeah, true. They could. Not bad options, I guess, for Gordon at least. But I wouldn't be. I don't think he's fantasy relevant anymore. But I wouldn't touch him.
All right. Well, we'll see where he lands. I think I don't know. He's still got name value. Finally in the news, at long last, and, I didn't realize this about Zach Wilson, but I didn't know that his numbers really are bad, man. I knew he wasn't that great, but I didn't know how bad his numbers were. I sort of wasn't paying attention, and, they're not moving the ball with him.
No, they're horrible. I mean, he's
10 punts.
He's just horrible.
10 punts. Yeah. I saw there in the player news here, and it says. Let me read the just a little bit of the from the NBC Sports Edge little take here, their blurb. Wilson turned in one of the more atrocious performances you'll ever see in the modern NFL on Sunday. Wow, that's completing just 9 passes. 9. While his team attempted 10 punts, Salah made his disappointment with the team's offensive performance quite obvious in the 10-3 loss, saying that after the second half effort by his team was dog shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, sitting at 6-4 in the season, the Jets have a team worthy of a playoff berth, with their obvious downfall being at quarterback. Backups Joe Flacco and Mike White could offer more than Wilson has through 7 games, and should be considered as options for the remainder of the season. Neither White or Flacco will be attractive options for Week 12 if they are to draw the start. I think, I'd say sure, put in Flacco or even White. You can't do. And we said this too about the Jets ever since Zach Wilson took over, about how all the receivers and everything's just downgraded since, because everything was looking up when Flacco was, slinging it. And as Flacco's really not really known as a slinger kind of guy, but he was just early in the season before Wilson came back. It was just, this guy's terrible.
Pretty much. He is, he's horrible now. I think he's definitely lost the team now with his comments that, the defense is playing out of their mind, and they're, top, 5 maybe defense in the league right now. And they're, and they can't get anything from, the offense. And he did question Wilson about it afterwards, and he didn't think he let the defense down. And that the offense, the defense is going to be very upset about that.
Of course.
And even Garrett Wilson was complaining about, kind of subliminally with some of the stuff that he said, that he was, not rocking, Wilson and how bad he was playing, and everyone was playing. They got weapons on that offense too. You got Wilson, you got the running backs there. Cochran's a decent weapon at tight end. And if you can't get the ball to those guys, you gotta go. put Flacco in there with that defense. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but I'd rather go down with Flacco than with Wilson.
Yeah, I would, definitely. Even White. I would even throw White in there, give him a chance. He did all right last time he was in.
Can't be worse.
Well, he can't be worse, and he's. I mean, we saw him play, and he had a couple of good games, and he sort of, slid out of favor there. But they can't stick with Wilson. It's too bad about the Jets. I don't think they've had a good quarterback since Richard Todd.
Richard Todd, wow, blast from the past.
Yeah. Or Ken O'Brien, maybe.
Yeah, Ken O'Brien was decent.
I think he was a little bit later, but I don't think they've had a really good quarterback since the days of those guys, or even Namath. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's just the team leading, and it looked like Sanchez was going to be it for a while, but then he was kind of like, he kind of fell off. He wasn't great, Mr. Butt Fumble. Remember that?
That's right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was embarrassing. He's going to be known for that for the rest of his life. But yeah, I mean that they need to do something at quarter. But now, with the team losing faith in Wilson,
lost
it's
the
really
locker
hard
room.
to capture that back. Yeah, he definitely lost the locker room, like you said. I agree. So they have to do something now. Salah's he's in a tricky situation. What does he do? I mean, Wilson doesn't have any confidence now, but if you take it away, take the starting job away from him, he'll never get it back. And then you kind of lost him. You spend a second overall pick on him, and then you're going to play Flacco ahead of him. But with that defense, I think you never know what's going to happen. I take the shot and go with Flacco.
Yeah, they got such talented receivers. I mean, they got talented receivers. Elijah Moore, like I said, Garrett Wilson there, and Corey Davis is injured, but when he's healthy, he's half decent.
Absolutely.
And so and look at so teams just have to stack the. I mean, look at they got good running backs. I mean, James Robinson there and Michael Carter, and when Breece Hall gets back next year, they're going to be really good. And
yeah.
So exactly. I mean, even so, I mean Robinson and Carter, they can carry the load.
Absolutely.
So.
Nice 1-2 punch.
Yep. They should be a lot better than they are, but teams can stack the box against those guys because Wilson's a terrible passer.
Yeah, he can. He doesn't even throw it close to them, and he just his head's not in it. You can't read a defense, and add all that up, and you get what you got on Sunday.
I mean, I can see it from Garrett Wilson's perspective that rookie of the year is kind of a thing young guy likes to get. It's a nice feather in their cap, and you got no chance for it. And I think Garrett Wilson's a very talented receiver that hasn't got a quarterback that can do it for him.
Right.
I mean, exactly. He's a great receiver in the making here, and he's not getting a chance because of poor passing.
Exactly. I agree with you.
So, meanwhile, you got Olave in London who just seem, but I don't think they're going to be the offensive rookie of the year. There's another rookie that's doing better than they are. Offensive rookie.
Hutchinson from Detroit?
Yeah, maybe. Well, is he? No, he's on defense, right? Oh, no.
Yeah. No, defense or offense?
Offensive rookie of the year. So.
No, yeah, Chris Olave. I think it's going to be Olave. Yeah.
So anyways, let's move on to quarterbacks, speaking of, because we got to pick up a quarterback. Not really, because everybody plays on Thanksgiving weekend. There's
no buys.
There's no buys on Thanksgiving. Everyone plays. Look who's at number one there, Dennis.
I know. My buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, there was there was only 6 pros that I saw that compiled these rankings, but that's fine. They compiled these week 12 rankings. I remind our listeners that they are of players that are owned in 50% or less of leagues. So that's how that's the criterion they use. And Deshaun Watson, you know what? I don't like it. Deshaun Watson. Why would the Browns put out a guy late in the season when they've got, they lost the Bills. So, things are kind of low. What are they, 3-8 now? 3-7?
Yeah, they're
3-7.
Yeah. They're playing Tampa Bay this week, so I consider that a loss. And then you're going to play Watson against Houston, and to do what? They're not going anywhere, so why risk it? They put out that money for him, and they're going to play him. But I think they want to show their nice new toy, and they'll probably play him, and they'll be all hyped up and playing against his former team. Be a bunch of BS going around with that. But that's all fine. I'm not touching him in fantasy. He hasn't played in 2 years. The team isn't, it has its moments where it does well, but, I'm just going to stay away from it.
Yeah. I streamed Marcus Mariota, who's QB2. Always handy to have. If you need a QB, Mariota's a good stream option. He scored a touchdown with his feet, so that's always good.
Yeah. He's a good, bye week fill-in second quarterback. But this week he takes on the Commanders, who have a really good defense, and they get Chase Young back this week. So I'd be kind of afraid to take.
Ooh, they get Chase Young back. Ooh, he's tough. He's a good.
Yeah, he's the big boy who can run pretty fast. I stay away from. So I stay away from Mariota too. But but no bye weeks. I mean, I doubt you really would need to have to play him. But,
I don't think you need these. You don't need any of these guys. Ryan Tannehill, Tyler Heineke. I guess this is just, I don't know. If you need a quarterback, if Fields can't go, I guess.
Yeah,
or Stafford. This is kind of
this is what you're left with.
This is what you're left with. Which isn't bad. Well, Marcus Mariota will get you through.
Yeah, maybe Tannehill. I mean,
Tannehill
looked good on Thursday night against the Packers. I mean, Traylon Burks looked good out there. He was making some big plays out there and got 100 yards. He was pretty good. But you could do that every week, and probably not. But I don't know. As a streaming option, I'd probably take. Taking Mariota against Washington, I'd be kind of afraid of. I maybe we'll go and hit Tannehill instead.
So let's move on to the running backs here. RB1 naturally with the Melvin Gordon news is going to be Latavius Murray. I don't think there's any surprise there. I already have him in Scott Fish. I took him after he went there because it's kind of a committee situation there. I didn't start him, and I should have, but I don't know. I just don't like the Denver offense all that much.
Yeah, I mean, they're not scoring. They're like the lowest scoring team in the league.
Yeah.
And, Murray is, he's just a plotter. He's not going to give you much. It's kind of a touchdown or bust with him. Now they lost Chase Edmonds as well. So that's, it's going to, like you said earlier about Marlon Mack. I mean, he's the next guy up that's going to be a Mack and Murray backfield. I'm not sure if I could trust that going into my fantasy playoffs. But,
I don't mind. I don't mind the pickup of Mack. It's kind of like if you need to fill up your bench. But I would actually, the guy that they have at RB2, I'd rather put him ahead of Murray. Samaje Perine, who we talked about. I think he should be the number one guy that they've got listed here.
I think so too. I mean, maybe they thought Mixon might play, so they shot Green down one. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, Green looked good. He caught the ball, get 3 passing reception touchdowns, and good short-term option. But I mean, if you're a Mixon owner, especially, you should probably already have Perine. So I would, now's the time to pick up your handcuffs and stuff as you head toward the end of the season.
Yeah. Cam Akers number 3. How does that happen? How do you get Cam Akers at number 3? Goodness sakes, you tell me how do you? Cam Akers, I have him rest of season RB 82, but. But it's for good reason.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing. It's just after all the hype coming into the season.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. He fell off but 14 carries, 61 yards. There's improvement there. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I'm staying away from the whole offense. I'm staying away from. I want no part of it. Can't depend on them, and too many issues in an offense that I'm willing to risk my fantasy playoff life on right now.
Yeah, I have Kyron Williams at RB 86. Just to tell you what he did, he got 7 carries for 36 yards. But he was targeted in the receiving, so still ended up RB 36 for the week. Like you're right. You kind of got to stay away. I mean, I would even try, like, I don't know if you had to. I would probably maybe Benjamin even. Who's with Houston now? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, usual name, Alexander Madison. Don't need to talk about him. We talk about him every week. But James Cook, keeps growing in the offense. And we talked about Nyheim Hines, came to the Bills, and he's kind of just, like you say, just receiving kick returns and that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could look good running the ball. I mean, it was against the poor Browns run defense, but even still, I mean, he looked good and they kept feeding the ball. So, I mean, it's something to watch out for when, him and Singletary out there. I think they're trying to protect Josh Allen a little bit with his elbow injury and, give the ball, a little more running than they usually do. And Cook looks good. Yeah. And, if it was me, I think I would put Cook first on this because I don't think I want to start Murray anytime. Akers I'm going to touch, and Pirine, if I had Mixon, I'd probably grab him, but otherwise I would grab Cook first out of all these running.
Yeah, Cook has a standalone. I think he's getting close to that. You can flex him.
Yeah.
On like his standalone, right? Like
exactly.
So
yeah.
So you're kind of right there. Jared McKinnon again. Chiefs. It's kind of in Pacheco's hands. Really, but McKinnon hangs around as a bit of an unknown. We might see the Chiefs pick up Melvin Gordon for depth.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, McKinnon's more of just a pass catching option. I mean, they do pass obviously a ton. Then he had that fumble at the late of the game, but he got saved by the Mahomes and Kelsey magic again. But he gets the ball a lot in late in games or when they're behind. So he's a good person to stash on your roster in case something happens in that backfield.
The next guy is another guy I would seek. I would put him farther up than he is. Is this Isaiah Spiller of the Chargers? Watched him. He did a little bit of relieving for while Eckler was having a rest, and Isaiah Spiller looks like is actually kind of upset because I picked him up and dropped him. During my weekly musings, and Isaiah Spiller's he's a guy we got to consider now.
Yeah, good stash option, that's for sure.
Especially with playoffs.
Eckler. Yeah, if you're an Eckler owner, you got to have him. Yeah, he should be in your roster already because, like I said, he was spelling Eckler a lot, and he looks good out there, and their offense is starting to click. If Mike Williams ever plays again, hopefully soon. The offense will look a lot better. Keenan Allen looked pretty good playing Sunday night. He had a big fumble, but he also made up for it with the huge pass reception in the game. If he starts playing well, the offense will be even more potent. And Spiller's a good option, good guy to have on your bench, stash him for the playoffs.
Yep. He ended up with 4 carries, 11 yards, 2 receptions for another 11 yards, RB40. But again, definitely handcuff this guy for your playoffs if you own Eckler, especially. So there you are. Is there anything?
The rest of these guys.
Yeah, here we go. The rest of these guys here. We got Mike Boone is hurt, and somehow he's on this list. I think the best of the rest is Dontrell Hilliard of the Titans.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a good. He's getting he's definitely the pass catching option on that offense, and he's God forbid everything that happens to Henry, Howard steps right in, and he does. He's a good running back to have stashed in your bench for sure.
Yep. And I guess we can mention Treston Ebner too, but it seems like it's not exactly the same. Treston Ebner, seems more like a relief back than Khalil Herbert was.
I agree. Yeah.
So
he's not,
he's no threat to take away work of Montgomery. And Montgomery's playing fine.
Yeah, he is. He's looking very good.
He's
I wouldn't touch him.
So that means we can get into to hear what Davis Peng has to say. It's time for Peng's Picks.
Peng's Picks with Davis Peng.
Hey everybody, this is Davis Peng, writer for Fantasy Six Pack, and this is my Peng's Picks take for Week 11. And my first take this week is, why did 61% of fantasy managers start Kadarius Toney last night? Nothing I saw from last week made me go, wow, this is a guy that I gotta start pushing into my lineup. And you could say, well, the narrative seemed really good for him. You got Nicole Hardman out, Juju's out, and and in that retrospect, I get it. But you still had MVS, you still had the running backs, you still have Travis Kelce, and at the same time, this guy's still the newest person to the team. So guys like Noah Gray, etc., might have had the opportunity to be ahead of him. And if you're saying, well, there's no way, those guys aren't good. If you watch the interview that Kadarius Toney and Patrick Mahomes had on the touchdown, they admitted that Kadarius Toney wasn't actually supposed to get that. He was the 5th option. He just happened to be so wide open. And if you look at it, they actually hesitate to throw the ball to him. So while you're wondering, like, why am I harping so hard on this? He was started at 61%. He was started on equal footing as Alan Lazard. He was started more than Deontay Foreman, a guy that just had massive back-to-back weeks. He was started at the same level as Devontae Smith, who they just lost Dallas Goedert and they also have a good quarterback, and they're playing a piss-poor defense in Indy. And sure, the numbers don't add up all the way, but 9 targets, 6 receptions for 78 yards seems way more likely to repeat than 4 receptions for 57 yards, a touchdown, and a rushing attempt from last. I'm not going to keep beating this dead horse too much, and I get it. Kadarius Toney did get injured midway through the game, but the snaps counts weren't. The 61% start on him just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to move on to my next topic. The Giants finally got bought back earth. They lost their game to the Lions. Saquon Barkley got stuffed like crazy. It was not a good game, but there is a bright spot, and that is Darius Slayton. I know a couple weeks ago I said I just didn't trust anyone on this team once Sterling Shepard was out, but Darius Slayton has earned my trust as a fantasy asset. This guy is 51% rostered, and man, he's put up 10 points more times than he's not put up. And this isn't half PPR. He also had 10 targets last week. He's a deep threat guy that Daniel Jones trusts. He's the only one on this team that's been actively playing for more than 1 year. And I think at this point you have to try to grab him. So if you have a chance to grab some Darius Slayton, and he's probably going to go up a little bit higher this year, I would say go grab him. Last but not least, I just want to talk about Tony Pollard, a guy that I wasn't too high coming into this season, but overall, he's just been putting up. And the reason he's on my conversation list is I noticed that the projections for him are in the 10 to 12 point range, live on the low side for what he's been doing. To put in perspective, he only got started 79% this past week, but since week 7, he's done 12 points, 35 points, 20 points, 34 points. And if you even count the weeks where Zeke did play, Tony Pollard still had an 18-point game, 11-point game, a 15-point game. He has more games where he has 12 plus points than he does not have 12 plus. So I just think he's earned it. And like I said, I'll have to eat crow. I didn't believe in him, but I would say start starting him. Don't trust the projection. Put him out there. He's at least an RB2 to a borderline RB1 play from here on. Other than that, guys, that's the rest of my Peng's picks. You guys have a good one.
Yeah, lots to unpack a bit there. Kadarius Toney has well, we can go back to this for a bit. I did mention in a tweet, I did say that I had a strong feeling that even though I was going to start Kadarius Toney, I still had that nagging feeling of wrong guy phenomenon, and I thought that. And I even mentioned in the blurb view, you should pick up Sky Moore. And Sky Moore got 6 targets, 5 receptions, 63 yards. I mean, that's the most he's been targeted all season. I think Sky Moore's on the rise here. Clearly. 9 fantasy points. I picked him up in one league. Well, I already have him in Scott Fisher. The only league I don't have him is the one that we are participating in, but I will be targeting him. You will be now, because I open my big yacht, because now you know that Sky Moore is, he's going to be something. They're working him in a little bit more, but I don't know. But as you said, you can't get around Kelsey. Kelsey's just there. And it's, it's Kelsey's the offense there. So yeah,
he's unstoppable. So you think he's a better tight end than Gronk was overall?
Oh yeah.
Is that the fantasy wise?
Fantasy wise, yeah, I would say so. The thing about Gronk would have down games where he would have nothing. It seems like every game. Because you got to remember, it was kind of an Edel Gronk offense when Brady was there. Yeah. In New England, so was Edelman really and Gronk would have down games at times with them. It wasn't so. I mean, Gronk would have big games. Gronk would have big monster games, and Kelsey has monster games. But it seems like Kelsey is just a little bit more consistent than I think Gronk was. I'd have to check the stats on that, but the way I remember it, it seems to be that way.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of recency bias, but I go with Kelsey because I think we're going to see someone that athletic that used in the offense. That he is the main option. Like you said, when they had in that offense, they had Edelman, who was getting the ball a ton, getting over 100 targets, and Gronk was also kind of like the 1B there, but Kelsey is, the 1A plus because Kelsey first and then everybody else is second, third, and fourth.
Exactly.
So that's why I really go with Kelsey. But
last year I might have argued for Mark Andrews.
yeah, an injury, kind of hurt him this year, and Lamar Jackson isn't playing that well. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but the first 7 or so weeks he was phenomenal, and then since then he's now looked good. So I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe part of the weapons missing or something, but he's not looking as good as we know Lamar Jackson could look. But that's a whole other subject for another day. But it's kind of disappointing to see what he's not produced in the last couple of games.
Let's get on to the wide receivers.
Is that the sign to get?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cook a turkey on Thursday. Actually, it's gonna be a large roast chicken this time because it's only just 10. So WR1 Treylon Burks.
I like it.
I like him, but I'm just looking at this list to see if I would put anybody ahead of him. I think I might. I think I would like.
Yeah.
I just looking what I would put at my number one, and I think I would prefer Darius Slayton.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
interesting.
Ahead of Burks. I mean, what did he do? Okay, let's take a look at Treylon Burks. What did he do? We have to go
7
back to
catches,
Thursday.
100 yards.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, 111 yards. So he had that big play at the end, and the game that sealed the win, 50-some yard catch at the end. And he has the ability to make big plays. That's why I think I would rather have Burks. I mean, Slayton does the same thing, but I don't know how much you could trust Daniel Jones passing. I trust him more running the ball than passing. So I think I would go with Burks over Slayton. But Slayton's probably numbered. I don't know. We go down the list. I mean, we talk about this receiver every week, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, he continues to produce, 50, he has at least 50 receiving yards in every game since week 4. And then you got Watson coming back. I know we kind of degraded that because, I'm not a Watson fan, but, the big play opportunities with Watson there could be someone, that could, propel, Donovan Peoples-Jones into, more touchdowns because he only has 1 or 2 touchdowns in the season. So, he's consistent. He gets the ball and even, Brissett's looking for him. And so it's kind of hard. I mean, between Burks, Peoples-Jones, and Slayton, those are the top 3. That I look at receiver wise. I mean, it's not bad options at all, if you ask me.
The thing is about Burks is just looking at his stats here is that this is his first top 20 finish. If you look at Burks' finishes, this is the best he's done all season. Is he going to be? This is WR11 for the season here. He got 111 yards. Sure, that's his first 100+ yard game. But, we're looking at our WR finishes of 53, 58, 88, 78. And you had those 4 weeks actually that he was out plus the bye. And last week, Denver 71, WR 71 finished with 4 fantasy points. Okay, I jumped out and shone here. But, I think I'd rather, and we haven't even got maybe Sky Moore is more than 50% owned. I don't know. But Sky Moore should be on this list.
Yeah, I think he is by now, just because other receivers that were getting hurt in KC that probably propelled him into being rostered more often. I would believe. But, yeah. Burks has. Like you say, he didn't produce well. He was hurt. Then I think he was hurt before. I think they tried to keep him out there longer than he should have, and then he finally sat out for multiple games, and now he's fully healthy and he looked very spry. He beat Jared Alexander on that big play. I think he has a lot of upside, so I think I would go with him first. Probably Donovan Peoples-Jones second and Slayton third. I
might even put Paris Campbell ahead of Donovan Peoples-Jones, maybe. He seems to be earning a little bit of. He's earned a lot of trust. I'll tell you that Matt Ryan seems to really he likes him more than Pittman. It seems.
Yeah, it sucks for me. They own Pittman, but yeah, he does. He's getting the ball a ton there, and he's not a bad option if you're PPR option is a wide receiver 3 flex option maybe, but he produces with Ryan. Ryan loves him, like you said.
Yeah, he does. He's you gotta go with the quarterback. What the quarterback likes, that's the guy you gotta go with. And I don't see why Gallup's on this list. Gallup. I don't know where Gallup is. Gallup Gallup hasn't gotten I don't think he's gotten even over 50 yards yet this season. I ended up dropping him. And I
don't know if he's really healthy yet.
Yeah, somebody else picked him up and they found out, oh, right, yeah, this is kind of not be good.
Nice.
You see him getting, but I mean, I dropped him for a reason. I dropped him because, I'm not, how can I start this guy?
Yeah.
So he's a guy on this
Not
list that I'm
right
not, we didn't talk about Nico Collins. He's been hurt. He's coming back, I guess, or he came back. Don't know what he did.
He's getting 7 targets a game since he's been back. It's hard to trust Davis Mills. He's not that good of a quarterback, and supposed to be his last year as a quarterback. So, but he has chemistry with Mills, so I think counts as an option. And they plus matchups. This week they take on the Dolphins, which they're gonna have to pass a lot to stay with the Dolphins, which they won't, but at least they gotta try. And so they still pass the ball a lot, and hopefully, Collins can produce in that atmosphere because he should get a lot of volume there.
Right. This Odell Beckham Cowboys.
I agree.
I just want to go back. I wanted to finish one of the points. We kind of dropped things a little bit. Oh, I just got some breaking news that Cardinals wide receiver Rondale Moore questionable to return with a groin injury in the game. So I'm not watching the game, so I will see how that all turned out. So I will be. I'm not watching the game live, but the game has just started. It's not too long ago. Yeah. So it must be still in the first quarter. But anyways, Jameson Williams at the Detroit's on this list. Rookie might see some with Josh Reynolds out, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot of hype to him, so
there is.
He was a playmaker in college, and I'm not sure how he's going to produce in Detroit. I'm not saying Brown's getting a ton of targets, and maybe that's without Hawkinson's there, maybe he gets some of the targets there instead of St. Brown. But I'm not sure
I might pick him up as a spec just to see what the kid's got. If if kind of risky,
up, then yeah.
He
hasn't. If it does blow up, it's good.
So he hasn't played at all this season, so we don't know. But let's get back to this Odell Beckham's issue. Do we want him? I know it's every week. It's just can't stand. Well, no one's picking him up, and no one believes, and I don't believe. I really don't believe. I don't want. If you can forget about Gallup altogether if Beckham Jr. gets there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Gallup is, like I said, I don't think he's completely healthy and recovered from his injury. And he's out there trying, but he's trying to get there. But yeah, Beckham signs there. Him and I don't know how healthy he's going to be, and I'm not sure if I take the shot on him. Maybe as a spec ad if you have an open spot in your roster, I guess you could. But otherwise, I'm not even bothered. Tired of hearing about it.
And, as much as I say about the Denver offense, you know who I like on this list too? Kendall Hinton. I like this guy. I like this player. I think he's
pretty good out there.
He's a pretty sneaky pick and he's at WR13, and I don't think he should be there. He should be a bit higher. And he's down near the bottom. I still like Terrace Marshall, but not as much as this Kendall Hinton. I think there's definitely some fantasy interest there. Some fantasy intrigue.
As long as Judy continues to be out.
That's right.
I can see Hinton being something to take a shot on. The rest of these guys, Marshall, I worry about the quarterback there. Matt Collins, he plays, last fiddle in that offense because, Devontae having the ball all the time. And somebody else on this list that's really enticing at the moment. So, I'd definitely move Hinton up with this list if I was doing the list.
Yeah. I got advice for anybody who owns DJ Moore. Sit DJ Moore while Baker Mayfield is running the,
right.
3 catches for 24 yards. Woohoo!
Yeah, I don't get that. Baker just continues to prove why the Browns are so willing to let him go because he's a legend in his own mind.
I was overjoyed that I saw Joe's starting DJ Moore. Woohoo!
That's a win for you, right?
Yeah, that was a win. I saw, he's starting DJ Moore, and Joe should know. I guess maybe he had no one else to start, so he just threw in there.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, took a shot on him. Yeah.
A lightning in a bottle type thing,
Yeah.
But Dotson, another guy that's been injured, guy you can pick up, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
Not bad.
And they have Terry McLaurin's taking a lot of those targets, and Curtis Samuel is running the ball more than he's catching the ball there. I mean, it's a lot of options in their offense, and their running game is looking decent. Heideken's playing pretty well at the moment, so especially with that great defense they got. It's hard to trust Dotson, but it's a spec stash in the roster. I mean, I guess he's worth the roster spot, but when you're ever going to start him, I have no idea.
No idea. Okay, is there anybody else you want to talk about in wide receiver?
No, there's no one else here.
Nobody?
Not many other options. No.
All right. I just want to tell you, if Sky Moore is available, pick him up, so I can say.
Yeah, I agree with that. He look good.
Yeah. You know what else is good is I'm just having my first after 8 mint of the year. Man, I usually get these every Christmas time, and we're starting to get into the season, and these after 8 mints, they're just posh.
Is that our new sponsor? After 8 mints?
Yeah, well, it can be. If Nestle wants to pay us, I guess they could.
Yeah, we won't stop, right?
Yeah, damn good mints they are, though. You know what they are.
Absolutely.
So anyways, I guess we should move right along because,
Show today is crowded, so we must move quick.
Yeah, that's right, because the show is crowded. Tight ends, as usual, guys to pick up. Juwan Johnson looked good this weekend. Anything on this list you like?
No. This list looks very ugly. The only tight end I even looked at was the one you mentioned was Juwan Johnson. Scored 3 straight games. He'd be my top choice. I mean, he's listed here behind Gesicki, Ingram, Austin Moreau, who hasn't done anything.
He was. Well, I don't know whether it was Carr. He was missing passes here, and I watched some of the game, and it just looked like it just wasn't. It was Carr. Carr was targeting him, and he just couldn't hit Moreau. How many? Let's see. He only got 3 targets. It's funny.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny when you're watching the game? You always think a guy who's playing, it looks like he's getting targeted more than he is. Sometimes, somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, somehow.
I thought, for some reason, he got targeted more, but he only got 1 catch for 33 yards. But, I mean, I guess that's what kind of the takeaway is. That 1 catch he got from Derek Carr, went for 33 yards. So you think, ooh, aha.
Yeah, the final drive, they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a big play, honestly. Mm-hmm. And led to Adams' go-away touchdown, so it was good to see.
I think Evan Ingram's good enough. If you need a tight end,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, who'd you rather have, Ingram or Moreau?
Ingram.
Yeah, I agree with that. How about Gesicki, Ingram, Moreau, or even Taysom Hill?
I guess still Ingram. Still Ingram.
Yeah, Taysom Hill he's hard to roster because you don't know what you're going to get from him every week to week.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pick him up, if you don't have any else at tight end, like if you had Pitts and lost them and you don't have any of those guys available, you pick up Hill and just throw him in there and just pray that he has one of those games that he has that's ridiculous, I mean, he didn't do bad last week, but he got some points. He got a lot of rushes. He never really made throw some passes, and he does a little bit of everything. So
yeah,
he's somebody that could fill in for you, but it's hard to trust every week. And no tight end is really hard, easy to trust except for the ones. But
there's been a lot of players like Taysom Hill, like Devin Hester, right? You wish you wish you could have a guy like Devin Hester, but there's no. I think Devin Hester was only in IDP was, I guess.
Yeah, very true. He didn't do anything as a receiver. So
so he was. Yeah, there was just no way to. They're good in real football, but they're just not good in.
I agree.
They're just and Taysom Hill fits right into that group, that category of players that are good in real football. They're great in real football, but just have they only have 1 foot in fantasy, and it's just not good enough. So there we have it. I do like. Isaiah Likely. I'm surprised he's on this list. He should be on Isaiah Likely. Definitely, yeah. Because I think he kind of works as that receiver. Because Rashad Bateman's out, so I think Likely sort of fills that role a little bit. So
yeah, he didn't do much on Sunday, but I agree with that. I thought he would be like a second option for Jackson, but he didn't do much, which is kind of disappointing.
No, the Ravens actually didn't look that great either on Sunday. I mean, it was both teams, like Carolina. They should have been running all over the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I would think so.
They didn't look that good.
No, definitely not. Yeah, the whole team didn't play well. Jackson didn't look good. The defense looked good, but you can't gauge it against a Baker Mayfield offense. I mean, Mayfield can't do crap. So
no,
But
so, anyways, who is your main pickups from here? Who are you going after? I mean, like, okay, you don't need you need a quarterback. You need a quarterback. Say, Fields or Stafford is out. You desperate for a quarterback. You got to pick somebody from this list. Who do you think?
I'd have to go Tannehill, I think.
Tannehill? I'm going just Mariota.
Because, I can't. And Mariota has, he has that floor with his running, but he just scares me watching play. So I think a chance with Tannehill.
Me, I want Patterson for a running back.
Yeah, I go him first, and James Cook is a close second.
Yeah, very close. He got me thinking there.
Yeah, I mean...
I think I might even change my mind, go with you with Cook on that, maybe.
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on with Mixon.
Yeah.
And Cook, I mean, at least, he's getting more touches, more of a role in that offense. And as long as, especially if Allen continues not to be able to throw consistently, accurately, then they're going to keep running the ball. And if they keep running the ball the way they were, they should do well, so they can hide them. They can hide out a little bit. They play Detroit this week on Thanksgiving, so they should be able to run the ball all over Detroit. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Cook has a great game because they should be up on them big and they should just run all over them.
Yeah, you can play Cook in that game on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely, I would.
Let's see, what are the other games? Let's see, the Giants are playing the Cowboys, and then at nighttime it's going to be. I forget.
New England and Minnesota.
That's right. New England and Minnesota. Oh, boy. Minnesota. I got to talk about something. One of the reasons I won against Joe is that he started Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. He looked horrible. He was getting killed out there. Man.
7 sacks. And now New England are... I mean, they've got a pretty good defense, too. So, I don't know. What do you think of that game?
That's going to be... Yeah, I think the Minnesota has to be pretty pissed off right now. I think they're going to hopefully come back and with the vengeance play well. And I worry, they announced before the game that Jefferson had mild turf toe, and I wonder if that really affected him more than he's letting on. And that's why he didn't make that much of an impact as well. Man. And he runs that. I mean, he is the offense there. I mean, they just keep feeding the ball. And, they were down quick, so they couldn't really run the ball. So Cook couldn't do much. But they have the weapons there. I mean, Cousins can get his head straight and not be worried about the offensive line because, they lost the left tackle, got hurt early in the game too. So that kind of led into the Cowboys just running all over the offensive line and murdering Cousins in every play. You got the headlights look, you couldn't do anything.
I couldn't do anything. But what the thing that interested me is because the Minnesota was down, you got to see, all right, now we get to see the guys that they would put in if guys got hurt. Like, you get to see the backups in that of the Minnesota to see what they've got, and so I found that a little bit interesting because you didn't even see Madison. They had some other guy running the ball, so it was just interesting to watch the proceedings and. But, really interesting weekend of football. And it's continuing on right now, and we're going to watch the game right now. But I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, Dennis.
Yeah, you too, sir. Enjoy. You and your son. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving. And
a little quiet one.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
And
a big family get together, so it's going to be won't be quiet, that's for sure. But it'll be fun. Watching football all day, so that's always good.
Yep, no interruptions. That's a good thing for me.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And also, I want to wish a Thanksgiving to all our listeners of the Fantasy Edge, and don't forget to read Dennis's article of the Stock Up and Stock Down. Comes out on Wednesday, and of course, the Blue Review comes out every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So the reason I do that, comes out at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, is because all the comes after, because Friday usually is the big news drop. So I like to put it out after the news drop and get everything all updated and ready to go. Yeah,
you did a really good job with that. That's very detailed information you put out there.
Oh, thank you.
That was very good. You learned a lot of stuff from there.
Okay, guys, enjoy your weekend and have a good Thanksgiving and a week 12, and hopefully you get in the playoffs. Take care. Yeah, and that's us for. I'm Richard Savill with Dennis Sosic, FantasySixpack.net. Join us next week on the Fantasy Edge. Take care.